All right, people, Black is here. What I want to talk about today is engine oils. All right, I have left several comments on different people pages saying that newer engines don't have as much blow by and they can go longer without changing the oil without hurting the motor. So if you have a newer car, changing your oil every 3,000 miles, or in some cases every 5,000 miles, is a complete waste of money. Now, some people say, well, I want my engine to last. Again, your newer engine does not have as much blow by. So changing your oil every 5,000 miles is like putting brakes on your car at 50%. Okay? Now, some people ask me, well, Black, how do you know this? Okay, let's go back a little bit. I used to have a 96 Chevrolet Tahoe, had a 5.7 V8. It had, when I got rid of it, had over 300,000. But when I first got it, it had 113,000 miles. Okay, now, I used to go, people talked about changing the oil every 3,000 miles. Even back then, I thought it was dumb. So I used to go every 5,000 miles. I would change the oil. Every time I changed the oil was black as hell. Okay? I didn't trip, changed the oil. By the way, I used, back then it was, well, actually I started out using conventional oil. And I think around 180-some thousand, I switched over to synthetic. I think Pennzoil was the first synthetic oil I had ever used. Now, that Tahoe, again, it was a 1996, right? When I bought my 2004 Chevrolet Trailblazer, it had 65,000 miles. All right, now it's a 4.2 inline six, okay? It is a newer engine. The Tahoe had a 9-to-1 compression. The Trailblazer has 10-to-1 compression, okay? It's also a tighter engine. Now, what do I mean by it's a tighter engine? There's less space between the pistons and the cylinder wall. There's less blow-by than with the Tahoe, okay? Blow-by is what caused the oil to turn black. A lot of people think it's dirt. Nah, it's really dirt from the combustion, which is blow-by, okay? Now, the Trailblazer has less blow-by than that Tahoe. Now, when I got the Trailblazer, I changed the oil at 5,000 miles, right? And the oil, I noticed it was black, but it wasn't as black as the Tahoe. It was still had some brown in it, right? And then I found out that it had a oil light that tells you when to change the oil. So I didn't know that at first. I found out when it came on telling me to change my oil after I had just changed my oil. So anyway, I went online, learned how to reset it or whatever. And I found that my Trailblazer could go 7,000 miles easily, okay? When I drained the oil out, it was black, but it was lighter than the than the Tahoe. The Tahoe, 5,000 miles of oil, black as hell. Trailblazer could go 7,000 miles. It was black, but it was lighter than the Tahoe. Now, fast forward. 2016, I buy a brand new F-150. It's 12 years newer than the 04 Trailblazer, all right? Twin turbocharged V6. People claim that twin turbocharged V6 are under so much stress. You have to change the oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles if you want the engine to last. Bull crap, okay? You go by, if you have a computer, you go by the computer. If you don't have a computer, go by whatever the owner's manual will tell you to, okay? If the owner's manual will tell you you can go 7,500, go 7,500. But see, a lot of people think, and I'm gonna tell you something else, a lot of shops, a lot of famous YouTubers will tell you not to go by the factory computer or the factory book. The factory is who designed the damn engine. But see, what they don't tell you is, they show you a video or a picture of an engine that has sludge in it. They will lie to you and say, oh, this driver went by the factory setting, and this is why the engine looked like that. They are not telling you the truth. They're not telling you the truth. I just uploaded a video where I took my F-150 8,000 miles and I checked the oil. It was down almost a quart. Now, it wasn't low, but it was down almost a quart. What I mean by almost a quart, probably about 3/4 of a quart low. My F-150 holds 6 quarts. Now, 8,000 miles, it was down almost a quart of oil. So just say first of all, Ford don't say go 10,000 miles. Ford just say go by the computer. But my computer was down to 20%, okay? What happens if I was to go, say, 10,000 miles? We'll just say at 10,000 miles, I have 0% life left in my oil, okay? Now imagine at 8,000 miles, it was almost a quart low in oil, and then I decided to take it to 10,000 miles. How low would it be on oil? How much oil would it have used? I don't know. I decided to put a quart of oil in it, all right? But that's what's killing people's engines. See, my truck holds 6 quarts. The little smaller cars only hold, a 4-cylinder, I don't know, the average 4-cylinder probably holds 4.5 quarts of oil, okay? So when you go 8,000 miles, you down, say, a quart, instead of having 4.5 quarts of oil, you have 3.5 quarts of oil, okay? So your engine is going to use that small amount of oil quicker, or it's going to blacken it quicker because it's a small amount of oil. So in other words, if you have a newer car, check your damn oil. Don't go 10,000 miles and check your oil. Check your oil. I tell people check your oil every fill up. That's what I tell people. But the thing is, a lot of people don't like checking their oil. A lot of people don't know how to check their oil. This is the reason why more and more cars are coming where they don't have dipsticks. People raising here, it ain't got a dipstick. It ain't got a dipstick because people don't check the damn oil. So why should you put a dipstick there if people ain't gonna check it? Just like a lot of cars are coming without spare tires because people don't know how to change spare tires anymore. So the fact you're like, why the hell we gonna put spare tires back there? Let's put something else back there. People don't know how to change them anyway. Hell, Jay Leno talking about his Tesla, he got 3 flats in 3 years. Turns out he ain't even changing the flats. He calling roadside assistant or calling his mechanics or whatever. But this is the reason why they getting rid of dipstick. People don't check their oil. But now, getting back to it, the F-150, 8,000 miles, I checked the oil. The oil is still somewhat brown. It is dark, but it is somewhat brown. Let's go back to the Trailblazer. 7,000 miles, the oil is black. The Tahoe, 5,000 miles, the oil is extremely black. This is how I came up with the idea that newer engines has less blow-by, the oils last longer, okay? But now, somebody left a comment. I'm not going to call this person's name, but he's going to know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say what kind of car, but he says that he changes oil every 5,000 miles because he only drives 3 miles to work. So I guess he's trying to say that, mechanics will say that when you don't drive your car that long, moisture builds up inside the engine, and when you don't drive it that far, the moisture don't have a chance to burn off. But guess what? I'm quite sure this person drives more than 3 miles over the weekend, okay? I'm quite sure they do. So just say if you do have moisture in your oil on the weekend when you take your kids to the mall or whatever, I'm sure the mall is more than 3 miles away, so you're going to burn off that moisture over the weekend, okay? So changing it every 5,000 miles is just an excuse. Now, this person says they don't have a computer in their car. I don't know. I know what kind of car they have, but I don't know whether or not they have a computer in it. But I'm sure you have an owner's manual. Now, if the owner's manual tell you to change the oil every 5,000 miles, go for it. It pisses me off when people try to paint all engines with the same paintbrush. They're not the same. Newer engines have less blow-by. They will last longer with dirty oil, with old oil, with oil, period. You know. Now, I have taken my F-150 damn near 9,000 miles without putting oil in it, right? I've done that. It was down maybe a quart. It really was, but it wasn't low. It wasn't to the point that it said add oil, you know. But like I said, I'm proving my point because my engine's got what? My truck has 111,000 miles. It barely used oil, you know. And from my understanding, the V8, and here's, you know, everybody want to talk about V8. Oh, I want a 5.0 F-150. I ain't buying one of them stupid EcoBoost. And I hear that 5.0 burns more oil than the EcoBoost. That's what I keep hearing. But they don't say that. I don't hear you. I don't hear you. I don't hear you. The V8 used more oil than the twin turbo V6s. But, you know, man, whatever, man. Dre, you have any questions, comments, leave them.